Well, we've got a surprise today. Jeff Morrell is with us from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Dying to hear all about that. And I think that you're going to be really interested in this because it was about, 7 years ago. So now that Jeff had a diagnosis that really was a wake up call and changed his paradigm and way of thinking and way of doing business. And so he's going to get into that with us today. And just after a little quick intro, we'll get started with Jeff. Hang tight.
This is Honey Badger Nation,
where real estate agents from around the globe come together
to grow, collaborate,
and expand their business.
Where we take our individual fires
and put them together and make one big fire.
This is the Honey Badger Nation.
All right, let's get down to it. So Jeff Morrell, Colorado Springs, Colorado, big producing KW team he had there and been with a private brokerage, and now he's with EXP, and I'm just dying to hear what he has to share with us today. So Jeff, what's it been like? Tell us a little bit about your real estate journey.
Sure. I got started back in 2002. I lived in California. Well, I'm from Indiana originally, but I lived in California for about 15 years. Excuse me. I worked in the film business in production out there. And then I did that for about 9 years. And then met my wife actually at a church I started going to. Became a Christian in 1992. We got married, went full-time ministry for about 7 years. Oh. And then I've got two daughters. They were 4 and 1 when we decided it was just time to make a move. And we had no family out in California and wanted to get the kids closer to grandparents, cousins, that kind of stuff. So it was either going to be Indiana, where I'm from, or here in Colorado, where her dad was living and his family.
And so we won that argument.
Absolutely. We'd been here to visit and we loved it. So my family's like, come back to Indiana. I'm like, no, you come to Colorado. Like,
right. I've been to both places. I think you guys made the right decision.
Yeah. Love Indiana. It's a great place, but no, Colorado's been awesome. We've been here now 3 years. So moved here December 99. And my father-in-law is a real estate developer. And so I started working with him in development, did that for a few years. 9/11 hit and his projects just came to a screeching halt. I mean, there was about 3 or 4 months where there was just nothing going on. Right. And, I'm on a salary. I'm like, he's just paying me because I'm his son-in-law. Like, I hated that feeling. So I went and got my real estate license and started doing residential sales, started January 2002. And so got off to a good start. I mean, I was at an independent company. A friend of mine owned the brokerage. I didn't interview anywhere else. I just went to work there. But he was very old school, 25 plus years in the business at that point. And, his idea of getting leads was, okay, let's pull out the white pages. I'll start in A, you start in Z, and we're just cold calling. I'm like, oh my gosh. That's right.
Get a pizza.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Knocking on doors, all this stuff. It was crazy. So I bought a website, and this website system was part of Craig Proctor's program. And Craig at the time was the #1 RE/MAX agent in the world.
In Canada.
Out of Toronto. I went to a seminar of his in Phoenix, and I joined his coaching program and was part of that for 9 years. And I think just having that weekly accountability with a coach and, this, here's my numbers and all this kind of stuff, working with me on ads, just guide me through things. I did like 32 deals my first year. I did about 50 my second, did 72 my third by myself, no assistant. My wife was helping a ton. But, she got licensed, then at the end of that year. So she started 2005. And that's when we moved to Keller Williams. We were there for 5 years. We hired an assistant, brought on a few agents to work with us, buyer agents primarily. We had a team over there. We had the #1 Keller Williams team here in Colorado Springs for the 5 years we were there. I left there in 2010. No issues with the company. It's a great company. I just wasn't using anything that they offered. I had all my own websites, tools, systems, everything through Craig's program. And I'm paying a lot of money to be at Keller Williams. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so ended up going back to an independent company, which was basically 100% deal. $300 transaction fee, $50 a month. My team went with me, and I'm like, I'm figuring I'm going to ride out my career there. Had no intention of ever moving again. A buddy of mine, Sean Sturrock, I've known Sean for 11 years now. He reached out to me 4.5 years ago, asked me if I'd take a look at this thing, EXP. I'm like, EX who? EX what? I'd never heard of this thing.
And how long ago was that?
4.5 years ago, January 2018. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I took a look at it. I've always been open to looking at stuff. I mean, if somebody called me today to look at something, I'd probably go look at it because you just don't know what you don't know, you know?
Right.
And so I took a look, and a week later we made a move, which I told Sean when he called me, I'm like, I'll look, but there's no way I'm moving. You know, been there, done that, the big companies, whatever, but this just made way too much sense to me when I saw it. So we've been here 4.5 years now. It's been a great move.
They say once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So, but
You
that's
can't.
interesting that you chose to. So what was it that caused you to make that choice? You're at a pay as you go, $300 a deal, $50
Sure.
a month type company. And you had all your systems and you had your Craig Proctor website and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds like, things were happening.
Things were going well. We were doing, as a team, we were doing 180, 200 closings a year, whatever. We did very well over there. It was still costing me personally, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 grand a year to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Just even with all the fees, with all the production we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, like there was just so much more that I'd never seen before, we've got some, I don't know, we've put a little bit of money here and there along the way over the years into like an IRA and a couple things, but nothing real heavy, whatever. And when I saw this, I'm like, wait a minute, stock bonuses with every closing, like that made sense to me. Almost like a built-in 401k plan to some degree, which I'd never had before. Well, so that was nice.
No, we were talking a little bit about you had a life-changing event happen to you at one point in time. Do you mind sharing that with
Not at all.
With us?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, and that was a big part of this as well. 7 years ago, I go in for just an annual checkup, and whatever, there's something's not right. These numbers don't look right, and send me to a specialist, and I get diagnosed with prostate cancer. We caught it early, so I'm grateful for that. Thank God for that. Ended up having surgery and, have a clean bill of health ever since, knock on wood. But I will tell you, for about 6 months, my wife and I, we had no closings at all on purpose, because we could afford not to. We have another business that we had built that was paying us passive income. We had rental property, just a couple of things, whatever, where it was going to be a little tighter. I mean, we're not having our 3 and 4 closings a month, whatever. But, and I did have my team that was doing some things at that point, but I did not have to stress out, financially. And I think it makes me passionate about what I'm a part of. When I saw this, I'm like, just another vehicle. The average millionaire, they say, has 7 streams of income.
Right.
Most realtors have one.
That's what he taught me.
Yeah. Most realtors have one, maybe 2 if they've got a rental property or 2. Maybe they're getting a few $100 a month or something from there. But most of us aren't ready for when life happens. And I say that all the time, like life happens. Life is going to happen to everybody listening to this in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully not health, but for some it will be health. Some it might be somebody in your family. Somebody, it might be, a parent or something that you wish you could go, spend 3 or 4 months with because, they need your help and they live in another state, but you can't afford to leave your business. Just life happens. The economy right now, and, out of our control.
I think as realtors, we all, to a certain degree, have our head in the sand about that a little bit. Totally. Because, I think if we really stop and take a look at it doing our day-to-day business, and we all have different size businesses and this and that, but, we're never more than 90 days from a crash and burn. If you quit working, then in 90 days, you're really going to feel the effects of it. And so we stick our head back in the sand and say, well, the answer is to do more deals, and think that's what's going to save us from, inevitable life happening. So how did that factor into your decision when you took a look at EXP?
Well, it was huge because, again, I saw, I'm going to get paid 3 different ways for what I'm already doing anyway, and now they've added on to that. Even there's more ways we can get paid here. But, I'm like, I'm going to do this stuff anyway. Like for me, I was at 100% company, quote unquote. Yes, it would still cost me 9, 10 grand a year to be there. But here I've been over 100% every year that I've been here. Like they're paying me to be here. Right. If I take those stock bonuses, those right there, plus, whatever the revenue share that we can get, we're owners of the company, with that stock. So if we want to, and it's a small percentage of people that do this, whatever, like, 8%, something like that. If you want to reach out to other agents and, they're open to looking at EXP, and if they join, you can now, get a piece of the revenue coming into the company from their closings. Doesn't come out of the agent's pocket. It comes out of VXP's pocket. And they can afford to give us that. And again, we're owners of the company, just like the broker owners out there, wherever anybody listening to this is working. The bigger, the more agents that come into that company, the more closings there are, the more money the broker makes. That's just how it works. And that's real estate. It's been that way for years. Well, now that model is different here. We can share in those revenues,
Someone say recently that they took what EXP did is they took the real estate model and flipped it upside down.
Totally.
So instead of the, brokers owning the company, we own the company and get compensated for it. They also said, the opportunity here is you can build a brokerage within a brokerage if you want to.
Without the headaches of being a broker.
Without the headache.
But when I left, I remember when I left Keller Williams, and I had probably, I don't know, everybody in town knew me, whatever. We were doing a lot of deals. I had, I don't know, half a dozen agents reach out to me. Hey, I hear you moving, start your own company, I'll come work with you. I'm like, heck no. I didn't want the liability, primarily, number one. I didn't want the headaches that go with that. I didn't want any of that. And so, but here it's like, like now, like my team, my team, I had maybe 5 or 6 agents. That was the biggest it ever got. Whatever, we did very well with that. It was enough for me. A couple of assistants on payroll, whatever. But now I come into EXP, and after being here a little bit, I'm like, wait, I don't need that team anymore. And I worked it out with them, and I wasn't going to leave them hanging at all, but we slowly just started pulling back on the team. Well, now I've got I like to call it a modern team at EXP. It's over 200 agents in 10 states and 4 countries outside of the US, and I've got agents now in India that I override. Well, their economy is not the same as ours. We're getting ready to open Dubai with EXP. Is there a recession going on in Dubai? Absolutely not. Whatever. And you can recession proof your business with this.
Right.
I still get paid the way I always did, my wife and I, with our closings, just like we always did. But now we get stock bonuses with every closing. And now I override, over 200 agents, all across the country and in other parts of the world every time they have a closing also.
I think
and
it's
that's
crazy.
Just passive income.
Well, EXP, when you get your stock bonuses, or you can buy EXP stock at a 10% discount. And most people are, well, my broker did a great job this year and I made 10% on my investments. I said, well, yeah, I just made 10% day one.
Yeah. Well, and I've had some agents too. Well, I can just buy stock with you could do that, but you won't. They never, I'll ask somebody, they've been a RE/MAX for 20 years. How much RE/MAX stock do you have? Like, close your eyes. Like, they don't own any of it,
Right.
I mean, that's just the truth of it. And so, and now it's so funny. I've talked to so many agents that aren't part of EXP who have bought EXP stock. I'm like, okay, that's funny to me. It's like, thank you very much.
Well, and and the fact that we are all owners of the company there's a culture here that I've never experienced before. And I've always surrounded myself with nice agents, and I have no shade to throw on any previous company I was with, and I have a very similar journey to yours. But it's just talk about open book and people willing to help you. It's kind of mind-boggling.
It's a paradigm shift coming in here. I mean, when I was at Keller Williams, they always wanted me to train. I was the number one guy in town. And I did. I love training. I love working. I love sharing and doing things like that. I trained probably 10 times when I was there. But I remember too, it's like, am I going to give away everything that I'm doing to these agents? Absolutely not. Because the truth of it is I am training my competition. That's just the truth of it. You can talk culture all you want to, I remember I had a listing presentation one time, and the owner of our company came with me on this presentation. And anyway, we get in the car afterwards, and he's like, before you start the car, you got to give me that presentation. That was the best presentation I've ever seen. And I'm like, here's the thing. I flew to Atlanta, part of Craig Proctor's program. There's a group of about 50 of us. I was at the top level in his program. We went down there for about 4 days, and we masterminded on this listing presentation. So we all left with this, this PowerPoint that had video in it, all kinds of stuff, way ahead of its time. Honestly, I mean, lots of people can do that now, but this is 15 years ago, we had this stuff in here. And it was so awesome. I knew when I got in the door, I'm getting a listing, and I did. I mean, I carried 20 listings at a time back in the day. Yeah. And so anyway, here's the owner, and he's like, you got to give me that presentation. I'm like, absolutely not. Like, there's no way. I know you want to give it to every agent in the office. Great. I paid $20,000 a year to be part of Craig Proctor's program for 9 years. And you want me to come in here and just give it all away.
Yeah.
Now here at EXP, I'll give it all away.
Yep.
I've shared it with people. I'll share I'll share everything. The better we all do, the better our brand does, the more agents that want to join us, the better our stock does. It's a paradigm shift. Everybody is collaborating and sharing things here in ways that I've never experienced in my 20 years in the business, without question.
And I've also found that we tend to attract entrepreneurial agents too. And so, I mean, you just boom with ideas is like, because I needed another kind of kick in the pants. I was feeling a little stale, and careful what you ask for, right? Yeah.
Well, there's a burnout factor here. I mean, there just is. I mean, over time, how long have you been in the business?
33
Kathy?
years.
33 years. Yeah. I mean, for me, honestly, even, 10 years in, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, again, I used to dread Januaries because, here's our team. We did, 180 deals. We number one team in town. We're winning awards. I've got, plaques up here on my shelf way up there, high collecting dust, whatever, all these things that I've won over the years. Everybody knew who we were. But where am I at in January? Right back at zero.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh my gosh, like here we go. Got to do it all over again. And I'm absolutely exhausted,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I just remember like just that burnout. Well, here, I remember one of the first things I went to with EXP, and there's a big banner up on the wall, big EXP event, EXP, making real estate fun again, and that sounds crazy to most people, but that is absolutely what this is doing.
Well,
I've got more relationships with agents now than I've had in my 20 years. And that's weird because it's a virtual brokerage, but it's just the way it works here. It's really amazing what's going on.
So give us a picture. What's life for Jeff and your wife now, 5 years later?
We're still doing, we're icon agents with EXP. So we've hit that, so we're still doing a lot of deals, although, I'm really working hard I want to get to the point where we can literally refer all of our deals out or pick and choose the ones we want to do. We'll probably still do a couple, 2-3 deals a year, but I make more money than the guy doing 100 deals a year, because of the way this model works. And that's possible here. And that's what I love about this. I think with everybody, if you're producing at all within 3 to 5 years here, you look up, you've at least got options. You could still, I showed EXP to a guy here. This has probably been 4 or 5 months ago. And he's a big agent, young guy, 25, single. And I asked him, he's been in the business 2 years. He did like 30 some deals his first year, did 40 something his second year. He's starting to build a team. I mean, he's a hustler, go-getter. He's a great kid. And I asked him, I said, where do you want to be, 5 years from now? He's like, I want to be top 10 in town. I want the billboard out here on the freeway. I want Channel 11 News to come to me when there's a real estate issue, whatever, Brandon, what do you think? Like he wants to be that guy. And I'm like, great. Okay. And I showed him the EXP thing. And I said, okay, now with this model, let me just show you. I said, here's the thing. You can be that guy, whether you stay where you are, whether you start your own brokerage, whether you come with us, you can be that guy, and you probably will be that guy. You're a hustler. You're going to go get it. You're going to get it done. I said, now let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you want to get married? Oh, yeah, I'm getting engaged in a few months. I said, okay, great. I said, do you want to have a family? Oh, definitely. I said, okay, now I said, hear me out. I said, you're going to need to hire at least a couple assistants, and you're going to have to build a team to make that work if you want to stay married. Because I've seen that in this business. It can just suck it can become a 7-day-a-week thing, which is kind of what it's been for him, but he's young and he's single and that's what he does. Well, that's all got to change when you start having a family. Those kids are, kids spell love TIME.
Correct.
And that's what it's going to take. And, if you're doing 100 deals a year by yourself, there's no time left for anybody, starting with your wife and kids. Been there, done that. Had to learn that lesson back in the day. But then I showed him this model and I said, look, you could go be that guy, Brandon, Channel 11 News, all the stuff, top 10 in town. I said, but at least with this, you have an option. You could do that. Or what if with what I just showed you, you could do, one deal a month, refer all the rest out, but you make more money than if you were doing 100 deals a year. And that's possible in this model, the way this works. I want my time back. See, I'll be 60 next month, and I'm like, look, I get it when you're young and all that kind of stuff. But, I saw a post on Facebook here, a couple of months ago, this is back in June, big agent here in town. Everybody knows him. And he had a post on Facebook. He's with his family on vacation in Florida. They have an Airbnb down there that they're renting. And here was his post on Facebook. The look on my daughter's face every time I have to go back to the room to do real estate is excruciating.
Right.
You know, when I go on vacation, I'm not on vacation, rant over. That's what it said. You know, now here's the thing. All these realtors comment, oh, I get it. Yeah, vacation. What's a vacation? I mean, all these realtors. I mean, and I get it. I felt for him but here's the thing too. It's like I tried to show him EXP 3 years ago and he refused to look. I'm like, that's okay. I'm not going to make anybody look, you know, whatever. But I'm like, here's the thing. What's going to be different 5 years from now when he's on vacation? Absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
He's still going to, you know, nothing changes if you don't do something to change it. He is still going to be on vacation, putting a post on Facebook just like that, unless you do something different and build your business in a different way to make that, you know, make that change. And that's, again, what this model can do. You know, I want to go on vacation and shut this off.
Exactly.
And I can do that here.
Well, so
You know?
how does it feel? What does that feel like to be able to do that, Jeff?
Oh, it's an amazing feeling. Here's the thing. I mean, you don't lose sleep at night. You know, I mean, I don't know. You see all the panic going on right now, especially newer realtors. The last couple of years, they're actually having to learn skills now, which, you know, because of the shift in the market, and they're having to learn how to talk to their clients. You haven't had to do that the last few years. It's like stick a sign out there, and the next conversation you're having with them is, you know, you're under contract, basically. You know, now it's like they're having to learn some things right now. You know, it's just it's nice to just, I'm not like, okay, I'm concerned about the market in that sense, but I'm not losing sleep over it. I mean, I've been doing this 20 years. Good agents get through it. You make adjustments. But again, for us, like, you know, we're looking right now, we're probably in November. We're going to go to Europe, I think, in November. We're looking at a couple different options. We're looking at Ireland. We're looking at Portugal. We've been looking at Greece. You know, we'll be gone for 10 to 14 days. And I'm just telling you, I will not take my laptop. I will not be returning emails, and I won't, because I won't need to, you know, because there will be my team, quote unquote, I'll have 50, 60 closings that month that I will override, you know, with this model, but I'm not responsible for them. I don't have to train them. I don't have to feed them leads. It's just a whole different deal than the traditional team like I had before. I thought that traditional...
and your money gets auto deposited into your bank account while you're, you know, drinking a Guinness in Ireland.
Exactly. You know, with my traditional team, I built that because I needed leverage, and it did help me some. I mean, I was able to leverage some, but not the way I thought it would. You know, I remember being on vacation and just, you know, we took our kids to Disney World. They were 10 and 8. And we were there for like 10 days. They had a great time. We did all the parks and did all the stuff, and they had a blast. I mean, they still talk about that trip years later. But I do remember 4 days in particular, sending my wife to the park with the kids. I'll call you when I get there, because what am I doing? I'm in the hotel room on my laptop till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, working my real estate. This is when I had a team. You know, I wasn't as leveraged as I wanted to be. I'm still in the park on the phone answering calls while we're walking around ride to ride and standing in line and all this stuff. Like, do I really want to be doing that? No, I don't. I want to be on vacation. I want to be enjoying my family. And that's how it should be. We get into this business thinking it's going to be like that. Right. But the bigger your business gets, the harder that is to accomplish.
Well, realtors tend to be freedom seekers and get into this business thinking that they're going to get the freedom that they're looking for. And then to find out, you know, it was the old joke, I just work half time, 7 to 7. And I used to have buttons, and then we'll wrap it up with this, but I used to have buttons I would pass out when I was doing my coaching. And they said, no real estate orphans, like with that Ghostbuster symbol across it, no real estate orphans. Yeah. We're like, well, what's a real estate orphan? Well, because I had I was a sole parent of a young daughter, and it just, the phone, she hated the phone every time she'd see it. So the real estate orphan might be your child. It might be your health. It might be yourself. It might be your downtime. And, you know, that's the sort of thing that we have to be proactive about protecting. So, you know, Jeff, it's just been delightful getting to know you a little bit here today and hearing you share your story with us. And, you know, anybody who has questions and some help, just reach out to either Jeff or myself, and we're here to help you any way we can. So any parting thought you want to leave us with, Jeff?
No, I think the thing I would tell people, if there's agents out there that have never, you know, they've obviously heard about EXP, the word is out, whatever, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. Right. And I get it. There's a lot of brokers, you know, oh, don't go there. They do this or they do that, whatever. You're not going to get any help. You're not going to get, you'll be back here in 6 months. Like, why waste your time? Don't go. I mean, Here's the thing, just look at it. That's all I tell people all the time. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Just look at it. It's not just another model. That's the thing that I thought. It's just going to be another model. I've seen all these models. This is a completely different model that's never been done before, ever. Right. Keller Williams changed the game in the late 90s, early 2000s. Remax changed the game in the 80s. We're changing the game right now. You owe it to yourself, your family, your team, if you have a team, your brokerage. If you have an independent brokerage, you owe it to your brokerage to take a look at this and just see what's going on, and then just dig into it, evaluate it for yourself. If it's a fit, great. If it's not, great. But at least you know what you're saying no to, not just the hearsay that's out there, which is a lot of just misinformation. So absolutely, I would tell exactly what you just said. If you know Kathy and you've never seen this, call Kathy. You know me and you've never seen it, call me, and let's just look at it. And I'm not going to push you. Just look. Yeah, let's just talk and so you can see it, and then you decide for yourself if it's something that you're interested in or not.
Exactly.
Either way is fine. So
education never hurts.
Never hurts
to be educated. Well, Jeff, thanks so much for taking time out of your life to share with us, and really appreciate it. And
appreciate you having me on. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you so much.